Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm not exactly 100% sure what we're going to call this video here today, but basically it's just going to discuss a bunch of things. First off, why is there looks to be a 10-year-old driving a tractor and just got done driving a car while all the adults are sitting around watching him do this. But anyway, I don't know. People are crazy. I wouldn't let kids do the kind of stuff. The kid's going to get killed. But anyhow, what we're trying to do here is I'm trying to switch over from the sealed beam style headlights. This is a 1997 Chevy Blazer. The sealed beam headlights, they have a tendency of not really producing the greatest light output. I'm not really that satisfied with the amount of energy they produce. These are actually the Silver Stars by Sylvania, which is supposed to be even a, obviously a better light, but even as Silver Stars in a closed beam, they still just don't produce the amount of light that I'm looking for. And I'm not even going for anything extravagant here. I'm just looking to be able to see better at night. These things are absolutely horrible. Why General Motors thought it was a good idea to stick with a sealed beam, which in my opinion is an antiquated technology, on a 1997 vehicle, I'll never know, but they did. Most commonly I see these on the two-door style Blazers. I've been told, or a few people mentioned to me, that the there's some four doors out there that also have it. But basically what we're doing here is I'm still in the search of a grill. So if anybody out there near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania happens to have a grill or that will fit a 1997 Chevy Blazer with the composite style headlights, let me know. I've already picked up the headlights. There they are. There's one of them anyway. The other one's in the garage. This is the driver's side. The main difference is if you look here, the turn signal is all one piece assembly with the entire light. From what I understand, with the way the brackets are on this, the brackets are supposed to be able to mount with the screw holes, are supposed to be perfectly lined up, and I should be able to do that. And also someone said put one through there from what I was reading. But it's supposed to mount right up to the rad cradle on here. Now the question I have is, you have the, I guess they can call it halogen or composite style headlights. I'm not even sure what they consider this. Let me get this where you guys can see what I'm talking about. They have these type of lights in them. So basically the screw in kind, you pop it out. This is what we're looking for. This is what I want. So this is what's in the new assembly, the composite style. So doing this one-handed is interesting. So we're gonna, there we go. I might actually get a set of Silver Stars to put on here myself. I got these lights actually off a guy for like 25 bucks off Craigslist. In my opinion, it was kind of a steal considering these things brand new. I've seen them over $100 on eBay. You can get a nice set aftermarkets for around 67 bucks on eBay, but for 25 bucks, I'm just messing around. They're not cloudy, they're not foggy. There's no scratches, there's no cracks, no evidence of water gathering in them. Hey, 25 bucks, I think I got a pretty good deal. They came off a 95 Chevy Blazer. So I also ordered on eBay, like an eBay Avigant, the 2006, 9006 pigtails that go to the high beam. There's two in this package. And these are the 9005 socket adapters for the low beams. Now, there's two wires coming off here. Obviously, one's positive, one's negative. On the high beam ones, they have one red one black one in there. I'm pretty sure you can see that. There's just, like I said, two in this package. Problem I'm having is, on this style headlight, and I'm going to see if we can even pull this off. Let me open the hood here. See if I can even show you this. Try to do this one-handed. Apologize, guys. Let me see here if I can do this without getting you all dizzy here. There we go. So, this style, I'm probably not even going to pick this up. I'm going to try my best, though. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go to this angle. Yeah. Don't think this is going to pick up. It's too dark. But anyway, down in there, there's a single plug, which, let me grab a flashlight. Let's see if a flashlight will make it show up. Don't mind a messy garage. Unfortunately, my father is a hoarder, pack rat. He likes to collect everything and anything just because he got, quote-unquote, a good deal on it. I don't even think this light's bright enough, but we're going to give it a try, guys. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but literally in the middle of your screen, there's a little plug there. You can see the wires coming off it. That is the single plug that goes into the steel beam. There's 3 prongs on it. Now, I got a schematic off a guy off Blazer Forums that gave me the schematics that tells me what these individual prongs do. And can't see it on this side, there's just the batteries in the way. But anywho, basically what I'm getting at is, how do you wire these up? I mean, obviously positive, negative, you know, pigtail, attach it, and then you have your, of course, you have your positive, your negative, and then of course you have your, which would be ground. I guess you would consider the negative. But I think there's also a 5th wire on there, which is ground. Now the question I have of the year is, what do you do with that ground? Do you just take the ground and screw it into like the headlight bracket so that it's grounding out off the actual rad cradle, the core support? I don't know. And as far as wiring, this also has daylight running lamps, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect it. But people have done it. There's tons and tons and tons. I mean, if you Google search, you know, Blazer Sealed Beam to composite conversion, you'll find articles upon articles upon articles. But nobody's really taken a picture of the wiring and how they've done it and what wire goes to what. The other problem I have is a lot of the people that have taken those pictures are using off a donor truck. They cut these off the actual donor truck that they took them from. So the advantage they have is the wire colors. I think there's tan, green, and I think blue is one of the colors, and of course black for the grounds. They're able to just line them, connect them right up, because obviously they are, you know, the same color. So basically just looking for some clarification if anybody out there knows how to do this. My issue is these ones, as you can see, black and black. So I mean, I'm sure I can figure out by looking at these harnesses that are red and black which one's positive, which one's going to be the ground and negative. But I don't know what I'm supposed to wire them to, because I just don't know. So if anybody has any pictures or diagrams or any info, that'd be appreciated. I'm going to kind of go off on a rant for a minute in regards to that. The other concern that I have to that is that I have friends, well, I wouldn't necessarily say friends, but I have tons of acquaintances that all play around with Blazers and mess around with this, and many of them have done this type of thing and quote-unquote know every little detail possible about working on cars. But whenever I want to do something, none of them want to get involved and none of them want to come around and give me a hand. So that's my rant in life. That seems to be pretty much the way things go for me. I don't know if any of you guys out there have that same problem, but anytime I have a friend or a situation where I know someone and they're working on a car and I come over and even if they don't ask, I'll jump right in it, I'll start grabbing a wrench and I'll start helping them. Anytime I want to do anything on my vehicles and I'm asking for some assistance on something that, you know, I'm going down a road that I've never been down before, because I've never played around with electrical as far as headlights and whatnot, you know, nobody's ever around. Nobody wants to get involved, nobody wants to help. So I have everything I need at this point except for the grill. I've been poking around on Craigslist trying to find one. If I don't find one at a salvage yard, and that's another thing, these salvage yards, they all close at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Half the time I work until 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, so because I work retail, so that's the other issue I have, is I don't have time to get to junkyards, and when I do have time, it's either a holiday or they're closed or some other chaotic reason why I can't get to them. So with that said, I actually have a friend that is going to be going either tomorrow or the next day to go down to a couple salvage yards that he is familiar with that supposedly has some girls that might work with the composite style, because like I said, it's basically the composite style won't have this inner trim right here. As you see this trim all the way around here, this whole section is just cut out along here, so in the whole headlight assembly actually comes all the way out to the end here and goes around with these headlight assemblies up here. So but other than that, I mean, on a previous video I hooked up my fog lights there. I think I put a video up for that, got those on. Basically just ran a wire, just ran the wire right up here, grounded them to the bumper, ran it down through the firewall, that white wire you see there, and just threw a toggle switch in and used those wiretap connections and just put an outlet right off the cigarette lighter. So it kind of worked out. Not really how I wanted to do it, but unfortunately the wires they supplied were not long enough to actually give me the ability to go and run the switch to where I wanted it, and I just didn't feel like messing around. I could have probably rigged something up or got some wires and added some length into them. So this is the 2000 Grand Prix. I'll show you my latest adventure on this one. So once again, welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So what I recently did on this one was, if anybody ever has to do this, this might be beneficial to them, is on this, the fuel line rotted out, the delivery line. The other line's not terrible. It's a little crusty, but it's actually nowhere near crusty enough for me to even be concerned yet. I've seen lines way worse than that not leak. The delivery line, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was a different type of metal, but the return lines are fine. The brake lines are going to need change probably within the next couple years for sure. The brake lines are getting crusty too, but the delivery line was completely rotted. Basically, the filter must have been, it could have been the original filter, because to be honest with you, this is my dad's vehicle and he does absolutely nothing to maintain it. If it wasn't for me changing the oil in it and keeping up with that type of stuff, that wouldn't even get done. But anyhow, basically the delivery line, what I did here, we'll take this out here, and this is the 3.8 Series 2. I'll show you what I did if I can get the cap out of it here. This little cover here is just more of a sound dampening for the injectors. There's got some kind of foam under here, insulation. From what I understand, that's not only for looks, but that's also a sound dampener because the injectors are noisy on these. But the delivery line here goes into the fuel rail. I don't know how well that's showing up. The fuel rail runs over the plenum and runs along here. It's the fuel pressure regulator right here. But the that's the fuel delivery line. If you follow it, it goes to here. It's actually 3/8. Once again, letting you guys know what these sizes are, because once again, whenever I went to do this, I had to do all my own research. Nobody seems to really know anything about anything. The guys at the auto parts, forget it. They don't know anything. It's unfortunate, but we live in a world now where the society just does not mess with cars. And it's kind of sad, because I love working on cars. I did the intakes on this about 2 years ago. In February was 2 years ago. Did the lower intakes and upper intakes and replace the plenum. This is actually a Dorman plenum. Dorman makes a replacement plastic one that's a little better and more durable than the original factory plastic one. They also have a fitting that you can put in there that keeps the plastic from melting. You'd have to go online to research it, but I can't really show you because it's inside, but there's a known issue with these. But the intakes were leaking on this. In the back actually, and it was causing antifreeze to go into the coolant, and was causing a tap, a really bad knock. So I managed to catch it and get that done, and then I did an engine flush on it for the oil, and after I did the oil flush on it, finally got that whatever was sticking to loosen up, and the engine's been fine ever since, so I got lucky on that. But the intake on here wasn't terrible. It took me about 18 hours, but that was by myself in my first time. Basically, all of this has to come off. You see here, everything you're looking at right now in this camera has to come off in order to do the intake. So, but anyway, they sell these really cool things. These are called compression fittings, and this is a nylon plastic line inside here, and this is a steel line. Now, originally, the nylon lines ran all the way down to almost the ground. We're at the bottom of the firewall, I should say, and they go into like a crimped fitting where the nylon line was actually crimped onto the steel line, then which goes back to the actual fuel filter, and then it screws into the fuel filter with a special ended flare and an O-ring. And then on the other end of the fuel filter, they use one of these, trying to find examples similar to like this, one of these little quick connects here. See how well you can see it. I guess they call these a quick connect. It's a plastic fitting, it's got a clip in it, and it's got O-rings in there. And what that does is they clip that onto the other end of the fuel filter. So the delivery side of the fuel filter uses a quick connect, the other side uses a screw-on. What I did was I grabbed some, and it can be any kind of brake line, doesn't matter. This just happened to be the coated kind, which to me, I don't really care as long as it works. I don't care if it's coated or uncoated, and it's not my car. So anyhow, they use this really cool compression fitting, and what it has is like a plastic thing inside here that actually squeezes down, and then there's an insert that goes inside the nylon to keep the nylon from crushing, and that plastic crimps and compresses when you screw this little nut on. You put a backup wrench on here, and then you use, I think this was 15 and 14. Put a 14 on there, use your 15, and crank it down so it's snug. Now you don't want to ridiculously crank it, but enough that you know it's going to seal. this side is the steel line. On this side, in here, they have a little brass ring compression. And same thing, you put your backup wrench on there, crank it down with that, and it makes a seal. No flares, nothing, just a nice straight edge. You just got to make sure this line here is all the way inside that compression fitting, up against sitting flush and flat. If not, it'll leak. So, cool little invention. I mean, I've known about them for a while. I'm just sharing it with you guys because if it helps, it's a good way to fix stuff. All I did was I cut that nylon line there. The other half is still right here. That's going down to the old fuel line. I didn't even take it out because it's all wrapped up through a run through there. But I'm going to see if I can get down here and get under here. I don't know if I'll be able to get under this because this is the GT, which sits really low. So I don't know how well this is going to show up. But as you can see, there's a compression fitting there. I ran it all the way up to the front, as you can see there. And then it wraps up and goes up the front of the firewall. Thinking this is showing up. And then they sell a Dorman. Go figure, Dorman again, saving a day. There's another compression fitting. And then they sell this steel line here that's actually a fuel line that has the special flare, the O-ring, and the correct nut to go into the fuel filter. And that special end, I don't have the part number available. You can get it for like 15 bucks. It's a 3/8 inch line. Fuel line, and it's designed specifically for General Motors, I'm sure other vehicles too, to screw into that fuel filter. It's actually the end you need. So took a compression fitting, went from my steel brake line that I used, 3/8 steel to steel compression fitting, which was also made by Dorman, I believe. Run that up to the fuel filter, and then on the other end of the fuel filter is that plastic quick connect that I was telling you guys about there. Now those can leak too, so you don't want to mess with them as much as possible. That's a new filter too. Funny story was I actually ended up having that filter, believe it. Okay, we're going to pick back up again. I'm not too sure what happened there. The camera just shut off and quit recording when I went to get back up off the ground there. So, but that was really strange. I'm going to go ahead and put this all back together here. But yeah, that was fun. It wasn't terrible. Took me about maybe an hour to do, if that. Went on Advanced Auto and ordered everything online. Had it for in-store pickup, ready to go. Went down, picked it up. Did it basically myself. Really didn't have much help with it. In fact, I really didn't have any help with it. My dad helped hand me zip ties so I could zip tie the line up to the old line, because I had no plans on taking that old line and dropping it down. There's just no way. It runs through a racetrack with the return lines as well as with the actual brake lines too. So unfortunately that wasn't happening. But other than that, there's really nothing else to report in. Like I said, talking about the Blazer here, if anybody gets the opportunity to reply back, if they've tried this and done this with the headlight switch over, and they have any suggestions on as far as running them wires in and grounding them, and what they've done. Did they run the extra wire to a ground? I mean, just any feedback would be appreciated, because I'm kind of coming up here dry with any kind of information on how to do this stuff. So but I have the other light too in the garage, which actually looks really nice. I cleaned them up a little bit. They were the back of them was a little rusted, but he also gave me his bug shield here too, which was kind of nice. There's the other light there. So other than that, what I'm going to do is I probably actually am going to make another video here in just a minute once I grab a screwdriver. Let's see here. Let me grab a Phillips head if I can find one here. Of course, I'm probably not going to find what I'm looking for now that I'm recording, which is usually how it goes. Yeah, it's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife. This will have to work. I got to go through my tools, guys. But let's see, what are these? These are just Phillips head. Actually, I think I'm going to take the other ones out, because I think this side's actually missing some screws. So I'm going to go ahead and take these ones out and get you guys seasick here. I think this one's missing. Yeah, this one's missing a couple. So I'm going to just take these out real quick here. See if we can pull them wires out. This is always fun, getting these screws out. Best friend, guys, is a magnet. So now that I loosen them, I'm going to grab my magnet and my dish. There we go, for a little walk again. Hey kitty. Just laid mulch, and for whatever reason, it seems to love that mulch. Oh, let's see here. This garage is such a mess, it's embarrassing. I can't even believe I'm filming it. Trust me, not my fault. I'm a very organized person. There we go. Magnet dish. Little magnet thing. Best friend. Trust me, these things are great. Let's get that off there. Let's take the bottom screw. I know that I'm only taking this right side out only because I know it's missing a couple of screws. Try to do this one-handed, guys. And I feel like piss up here. Anybody, you guys, subscribe to his channel. I probably just lost that one, probably, because I'm messing around with the camera. Sure I did. Why not? I lose everything today. Alright, how the hell these things, these closed beams, guys, are just a pain in the ass. No, I didn't lose it. It's down in there. Let's see if I can get down in there and get it. There we go. Anywho, so yeah, this one's even more confusing. So here's the connector. Let's see if I can show you without busting this light. Let's sit you guys down here in a minute, I think. There we go. So yeah, okay. Here's the back of the light. Has these 3 offset prongs. Okay. Here's the socket right there. And here's the part that's bugging me. This only has 3 wires coming off it. I'm assuming one is a ground, which is probably that black one on the bottom. The middle one's green, and the top one kind of looks tan, but it's so dirty I can't tell. Yeah, it's a black one. Yeah, so we got green. Alright, there we go. Now I can... So we got a black, green, and a tan. So I'm assuming that the green and the tan, one's low beam, one's high beam, and then the black one is obviously the ground. So I'm assuming I could probably just tap into these and just run the 2 grounds to the ground. But like I said, it's a different story on the other side. So there's a bunch of wires on the other side that aren't on the one side. So I don't understand that. I don't know if that's because this is like the junction light maybe. I don't know. So once again, if anybody has any feedback, I'd appreciate it. So that's where we're at. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Alright guys, I think I figured out the wiring to this. What we're going to do here is, it's getting dark, so I'm going to try to show you the best I can, is I used some drill bits, and real small drill bits, and I put it into the socket. It appears that the beige wire is the low beam, the blue wire is ground, and then the other side I think just grounds to the frame. And what I'm seeing here is I got the beige wire and the ground hooked up to the positive negative going to the back of the new light assembly. And if you go inside the vehicle and turn the lights on, it works. So there is the light, and what a difference. I can tell how much brighter they are already. So with that said, I should be able to do this. It doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. In fact, I'm probably just going to cut the connector off now that I'm really thinking about it, and just cut enough where I have some extra wire. So, but yeah, I mean, they're working. So, and that's just low beam. Now the daylight running lights I think go through the high beams. So if the daylight running lights don't work, not the end of the world. I'm not that concerned about it. But as you can see, it's working. So basically the driver's side harness that comes off the plug. Let me turn these lights off for a minute so I can show you. The driver's side headlight acts as the junction light. And what that means is the wires here, I'll try to balance the light and show you. The wires on here, as you can see how many, looks like there's a ton of wires there? The green and the green tie together, the beige and the beige tie together, and then the blue is the ground on this side, which goes back to, I'm thinking, the computer, possibly, and that's what controls the daylight running lights for the ground. All these, the green and the beige, I think all I need to do is twist them together, and then tap positive, negative into that, into the beige is low beam, green is high beam, and I think on this side it's going to be even easier because this side only has the single wires coming out. And I think the reason why is they're pigtailed off the connector on the driver's side. And I'm thinking this wire, I'm not going to follow it because it's too dark, but I have a feeling that black wire just simply goes to ground on the frame. So I'm thinking that this isn't going to be nearly as hard as what I thought it was going to be. So we got beige, green, and black. Beige being low beam, green being high beam, and I'm thinking the high beam is what runs the daylight running lamps. So, like I said, this is the junction side, which has all the wires tied together, and then wires from here run across the front end over to there. So everything goes through the driver's side, and then those are just hooked up daisy chained, I guess you would say, off this side. So that's how you do it, guys. That's what I'm thinking. So I'll keep you posted and let you know what the outcome is. But like I said, junction side, beige low beam, green high beam, and blue is ground. I'm just going to tap these suckers in. I'm going to solder them. And so all I got to do now is find myself a nice grill, and I'm ready to roll. I'm going to order some headlights. I'm going to get a pair of silver stars for this, some halogen lights, and yeah, that should do it. So kind of excited that I figured it out on my own, but just wanted to give you an update, and I'll let you know what the final look looks like. This will probably be the last time you'll see this front end on here like this. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks. Bye.